I didn't mean to hit the live button yet. I guess we're early. Sorry. I was grabbing my phone to tighten up my tighten up my stand. If you heard that, I was like, oh no, I didn't mean to do that. I was like, well, I guess we're rolling with it. So yep, we're rolling with it just early. So anyway, I guess we'll get set up here, and then you guys can roll in. If you didn't hear that, I was accidentally hit the button to start as I was trying to adjust my phone. So we're gonna adjust this board here so it can be a little higher, so you guys can see that. Here we go. Get my light set up. I was gonna have all this done before I got started, but I accidentally hit the button, so that happens. So like I said, sorry for all y'all that are here early watching setup. That was an accident. All right, this is my idea as far as setup, to have you guys over my left shoulder, and then I can work on it here. You guys can see from this side, and then I can turn around and see chat. So that's the plan. I might, yeah, I think that's good. That's a good height. How's everybody doing? Oop, need to tighten that up. All right, let me grab some clay. I need a little screensaver stream starting soon. I don't think you can set those up on YouTube. That way people can stream in here. Hello again, Stephanie, Seth, Eva, welcome. And yes, Seth, we are finally doing face jug. So we're gonna get you in a little closer there. There we go. That way, like I said, I can work on this. You guys can see over my shoulder as I do this. And I don't really want to start on it yet because, like I said, I didn't plan to do it until actually 6 o'clock my time, and I accidentally hit the button. I think there was like 8 or 9 minutes left over. So I know there's going to be people coming in thinking, oh no, it's already been going for 5 or 6 minutes. So what I'm going to do is I'll wait here just a couple minutes before we get started on making it. But I'm going to use a needle tool. I'm going to use this wooden tool. In making face jugs, I've found this to be really handy because it's got a nice, really smooth round end on that side, and then, like I said, similar one on that end. And that really helps with smoothing clay out in different places. This one, I guess I should try this on here because the last face jug I made that was smiling, I absolutely loved it. I wish I had a picture of it here so I could kind of go after that or go on that idea. Yeah, that would be smart if I had a picture of that. But a lot of the face jugs I've made have not been smiling, and a smiling face jug is a whole lot harder to make. Because I mean, you think about it, just think of the amount of I'm not trying to make them look realistic in a sense, but I still try to make them look like caricatures. And so a face jug to me, that's just I don't like the real ugly ones, and I don't like the overly simplified ones. So I try to make them so they're kind of cartoonish, but still have some realistic looks. And so I love making happy ones. But if you try to make a happy face, like if you're just really smiling really big, you know, just you've got all these, like your cheeks go up, you've got these smile lines usually around your face, you've got wrinkles and smile lines around your eyes, and it's just all those kind of things that they get really difficult as far as making a face. I'm not a sculptor. I'm not a sculptor, so that definitely it gets challenging when you want to do that kind of thing. So let me let's see, what else was I going to grab? I'm going to grab a little bit of water in my bowl, and then maybe even my bowl of slip. Here's here's a bowl of water. Here's my bowl of slip. And then, so like I said, what I want to do is try to make a happy or smiling face jug. And that gets, like I said, really, it's at least challenging for me. So one of the first things I do is a lot of times I like to make them so they're not perfectly straight up and down as well. So what I do is I start by making indentions. So I'll make, because if you look on our faces, it's definitely indented where our eyes are. So I try to indent where the eyes of this are going to be, and then I try to indent where, especially if I'm going to make an open mouth, that I can indent where kind of all this is going to be, because I'm going to add top and bottom lips as well. And so if you look at a profile yourself, they do stick out a little bit, but they don't like stick way out. So like I said, not necessarily making a perfect, you know, example of a true face, but just trying to get a little bit, you know, realistic. So I'm going to see. So I'm going to start out by making 2 indentions where the eyes are going to be. And so I'm just pushing in the clay. And like I said, I'm doing this a little bit at an angle so that it's not perfectly straight up and down. That'll add some more character to it as well if I do that. And then, you know, the nose is going to be in this area here. And then right down in here, I'm going to make a spot where the mouth is going to be. So that's the beginnings of it. I know what else I was going to grab. I'm going to grab another one of my paintbrushes. Actually, I may not need this one. I did a video about my tools that'll be going live tomorrow, my tools and equipment, and I can't find my smaller paintbrush. Anyway, so what I've done here already, welcome to everybody. All right, let's see. Oh, yeah, Renee, if you just type pottery making into your app store on either one of your phones, there's 2 or 3 free ones that are really good, and I'm sure they're both platforms. Hey, Danny, welcome from Virginia. David, welcome. Hey there. Yeah, Stephanie, this is going to be exciting. I've never done a face jug on live or on video at all, so I'm sure I need to do this on a YouTube video at some point as far as a regular episode. But so I've got a bag of clay here, and some of the clay is a little bit is soft, which is good because you don't want the clay that you're adding to be too stiff. You know, the jug itself needs to stiffen up a bit before you can add it on. Excuse me, I'm gonna grab my water. So Australia's back again. Welcome, welcome. Holland is here. Oh my goodness, we are all over the world. Well, welcome to everybody. Like I said, you didn't miss anything if you're just getting here. I just accidentally hit the button to start early. Yeah, it does look kind of spooky right now, doesn't it? Actually, Jennifer, this is going to be for my wood kiln, as this is the clay for my wood kiln that I was throwing the other day. Not my last live stream, but the one before. So not yesterday's, but a few days before that. I just kept this covered up. Yeah, it does look very spooky. I'm looking at it with the shadows and everything. It really does look kind of creepy. Let's see. I'm going to... What am I going to make first? I'm either going to do the eyes or the mouth first. I think I'll work on the mouth first. So what I'm going to do for the mouth is I'm going to make upper and lower lips. I don't think I'm going to put any teeth in there, but what I am going to make is for an upper and lower lip. First off, for the upper lip, I'm going to make like a coil that is long and kind of pointed on both ends. And then I'm going to indent the top of it, like where your lip would come together, and then I'll also kind of make a point here on the bottom. So I'm going to attach that like up here, like this. And so yeah, I am going to use a little bit of slip on this because this clay doesn't, it blends together pretty well, but I just want to make sure that these stick and don't crack at all. All right. So I'm going to put that across the top there. So it definitely protrudes out now, and it kind of looks like a, let me move this over a bit. I'm going to move my light down so it doesn't cast such a shadow. There, that's probably a little better. Yeah, it looks like it protrudes out quite a bit right now, but I'm going to take the top side of that and kind of smooth it in. So that's one of the things I use this tool for, is I can take and kind of push that clay back and blend it in. And even if it gets looking rough, I can smooth that out later. But I've definitely learned after making several that you want to, there's certain parts of the face that you want to do first. Like if I do the nose first, it's really hard to get in and make this lip. Of course, then again, the bottom of the nose may be a little difficult to get back to once I have the lip on here. So you kind of have to figure out which ones are easier for you to do, and just work with them in that order. I'm definitely going to do the eyes before I do the nose as well. If I remember correctly, it's been so long since I made a face jug. Honestly, I'm actually kind of struggling to remember which one I did. Oh, one thing I forgot to do is normally I like to have those. I might actually add some extra clay here for the cheeks, because like I said, I want to make a more smiling one. But I'm going to try to make these smile lines that go around the mouth here. So I'm going to kind of indent a little more now that I got some water on there and I'm smoothing this out. All right, so yeah, that still looks kind of strange and spooky, but that's a beginning here, and I'm happy with that. So I think I'm going to add a little bit extra clay here to bring out the cheeks a little bit. So I'm going to make a couple balls to begin with that are similar size here, and then I'm going to turn those into teardrops, and then I'm going to kind of flatten those out so I can kind of make a little. All right, just going to add a little bit of slip to the back side of that, and then It's all right. I don't know if anybody said it already, but yep, I'm doing happy things again. So we're back to the Bob Ross of clay here. We're doing a happy face jug. So along with the happy dots and the happy trees and the happy handles and all that. All right, so there's a good little cheek there. You can see where it's raised up now. I'll do the same thing over here on this side. Let me look back at chat here. Hey, welcome. Another one from Australia. Peter, welcome. The Swedish chef. There you go. Chef Nordborg here. Yep, that was the southern Swedish chef there. That was not the Swedish chef. Morty. Yeah, it would be fun if I could actually make realistic ones that look like real characters. That'd be a lot of fun. That'd be a lot of pressure on me though to try to make them to look where they look like something that I either a real person or a character. That would be tough. I accidentally made one time that looked like Rodney Dangerfield. So most of my face jugs too, I give them names. So of course the one that looked like Rodney Dangerfield, his name was No Respect. I write it on the bottom. So that was only appropriate for that one. Sometimes I have to use your fingernail like this to get in there and smooth some of those lines out. Like I said, I'm not worried about it being perfect, but I'm just going for a certain look as far as the happiness goes. So I'm trying to give them cheeks there, and then get these smile lines underneath those cheekbones, and then we'll work on that. So all right, now we're gonna make the bottom lip. So it's gonna kind of come down. So I got to have a really long piece of clay that starts out real thin and gets fat right here in the middle, and then comes back up. So we got. I'm just going to add a little bit of water to this clay as I roll it out. I guess you could start with extruded parts for this, but it's easy enough to do this. So, like I said, and I love exaggerating certain features. So if exaggerating the mouth is one of them, I love exaggerating the nose. Most of my face jugs have big noses on them. All right, we're gonna pinch this off a little bit because I believe it's a little longer than I need, and I want, like I said, I want to thin this out towards the end so that where it connects, it kind of has, you know, that definitely looks funny. All right, so that's just like that, and then we can let's see. We can come at it and back in a minute and add some texture to the lip as well. Yeah, I probably should have turned up the corner of the outside or the top lip there. Don't know if we can adjust that now, but we'll work on that here in just a second. A little bit of grog there. Maybe we'll try to pinch this in a bit. There we go. Looks like he's singing. All right, one of the things I like to do with the lip, at least with the bottom lip, is put a little, at least put a little line right there in it. Maybe a couple other little ones. Just give some texture to the lip. Like that. All right. Oops, sorry. Bump that. Try to get you guys in closer to see a little bit more of that. Sorry, trying to. All right, so there we go. There's the two lips and the cheeks added. I think the first time I did a smiley one, I took a picture of myself smiling just to see the different, because I wanted to make it with his eyes closed too when I did that first one. And I was like, man, how do I don't know what people's eyes look like when they're closed, you know? So I just took a picture of myself just to do it. I know I could have just looked up a picture online, but all right. So now, let's see. I guess we will do the eyes next, and then we can do the eyebrows, the nose, and then we'll add any little extra details we need to after that. All right, so if we're gonna do eyes, I am gonna add an eyeball in, even though if the eyes are gonna be closed, because if I just add clay in here for eyelids without a ball underneath, then you would actually have an indented part there, and a real person's eye would actually stick out. So just a little, what I would normally do for an eye is just make a round ball, and then I'd flatten it and stick it in there. And then I would use a tool to actually make the, I'll show you, I'll actually put a pupil and stuff in it just so you could see what it would normally look like, even though I'm going to make them closed. All right, so normally I'd take I have a couple of these brushes that are made with bamboo sticks. So a lot of times I would take these, and then I don't do it right in the center. Usually I do it off center like that, and I would do something like that to make the irises, you know. It looks really funny right now without a nose, but all right, so I'm gonna make a flat piece here to do the eyelids out of.
Oh, you on live?
Uh-huh.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, you're fine. So I just make a flat piece like this that I'm going to cut in half to make the, yeah, I maybe could do one eye closed, but I'm going to try one and see how I like it, and then we'll try the other one. So I wouldn't necessarily have to do this either as far as making 2 eyelids, but I think it'll help if I make 2. So they'll still have that line right down the center where his eye is technically closed. But like I said, if I didn't put that actual eyeball in there, this would be sunken way down in from where I made that indentation. And so by putting the eyeball actually in there, even though you're not going to see it, it'll give that little bump. Let me raise y'all back up. So like I said, I just made an oval and then flattened it out and then cut it in half, and then I'm just smoothing that edge where I cut it there. And then I'll have to do some work with the eyebrow and with some smile lines here to make it really look like he's, you know. That bottom one was harder to get my finger in there, so I used my tool to try to smooth some of that over. And then in the corner here we'll get. All right, so then what we're gonna do is we'll probably take this tool here and we can come straight from the corner. Do some crow's feet. All right. I think that's good. Yeah, wink. Yeah, that. I don't know. Maybe we'll try it. All right, I will. I'll try. If you guys weren't here, I wouldn't be doing this. So this is the advantage of a live stream, I guess. You guys are gonna tell me he needs to be winking, so he's gonna be winking. All right, or at least we're gonna attempt that. All right. So here's 2 more eyelids. We're just making body parts here. Or at least face parts. And a lot of times I'll do just a top or just a bottom eyelid too sometimes. Just depends on what kind of face I'm going for. Not really like stuck to one way of doing it. Hey Daryl, welcome. You're welcome, David. Hey, we all gotta come together right now to help each other make it through. All right, I'm gonna try to get the excess water off this before I add that bottom one. Let's see, I need to kind of curve this so it can kind of touch the corners. Let's see. Oh. Hey, no worries. By the way, my spaghetti last night and my apple pie were delicious, so I'm glad that that was done when well, the apple pie wasn't done, but the spaghetti was done when I got off, and then put the kids to bed and came back out and made a big old slice of apple pie. So, and then I ate a piece of apple pie after lunch today. So I'm the only one who's eaten any, so, and I'm fine with that. If they want to leave it all for me, we'll be good. All right. That light's almost too bright for you guys to see. Let's see. There we go. Turn that down a little bit. What do you think? Once I get the eyebrow up here, we'll need to do this eyebrow a lot lower, because when you wink, you bring that eyebrow down. So now we'll grab a little bit more clay and we'll do the eyebrows. Actually, I might need to do the. No, I can do the eyebrows and then do the nose. All right, let's see. Usually I make the eyebrows, I add the clay, and then I just turn that into the hair on the eyebrows too. So I'm thinking something like that. So it kind of comes down. And then the other one will just go up. That's just sitting there for right now. We'll attach them here in a second. And this one will probably go up like that. Looks like he's got worms on his head. I have done different creatures on Face Jug's heads too. I've done one with a lizard, one with a frog. All right, let's see. Let's get this at least underneath smoothed up right here. I'll have to go back and make these smile lines again because kind of messing those up, adding that eyebrow. See, that sticks out a whole lot, but what I'm going to do is take my, oh, let me turn this a little bit. I'm going to take my needle tool and turn that into his bushy eyebrows here. Like I said, I love to exaggerate features, and eyebrows are another one that I like, so you can, like an old man, he's got really bushy eyebrows. All right, so, and then this one, like I said, this one's going way up, like that. And yeah, I could make these as, just depending on how big the coil is that you add up there is going to determine how big of eyebrows you make, so I could have it so he doesn't have quite as bushy eyebrows or any of that stuff. All right. That's probably the bushiest eyebrows I've ever made on a face jug. That's pretty funny. All right, now we got to make a nose. It's gonna make it all come together. It looks pretty funny right now, but once I add that nose, it's gonna look a whole lot better. I promise you that. Quarantine eyebrows. There you go. He doesn't have anybody around to tell him they're too bushy or anybody to trim them. Hey, James. Welcome, welcome. You're very welcome. You're very welcome. All right, so we are going to make a nose. I make a teardrop shape for the nose as well. Just a longer teardrop shape. Well, it depends on the kind of the style of nose I'm making. Sorry, I was doing this down below the camera. So I'm going to make a teardrop here. Might need to be a little bit shorter. So basically like a long teardrop. This one's got a pretty fat nose. Like I said, but that's one thing I like to exaggerate. Now he does look like a Sesame Street character. If I don't make it exaggerate, it looks like one of those honk characters, whatever their names were. Make the bridge of his nose a little bit there, where it comes down and then it separates out. This is probably my favorite part of doing face jugs is putting a nose on. I probably should have done the nose before I did the eyebrows, now that I think about it. But we can always go back and fix the eyebrows if we mess them up. Add just like I said, a little bit of slip to the bottom side of that. Bert and Ernie, there you go. Yeah, but there's the other characters too that just did like honking or whatever. But anyway, so we're gonna add that on there, kind of like that. And then we want to, yeah, I definitely should have. Definitely should have done the nose before I did the eyebrows, but we'll fix them. And now that I think of it, I might do the nose before I do the eyes normally. It's like I said, it has been a while since I've made a face jug, but there's not an order you have to follow at all, but definitely certain parts of it are easier to do in a certain order. And from a profile too there, you can get like, you can play around with that, so you can get like a big bump in his nose, All right, and then for nostrils, this is the fun part, all right? So this is worth the whole video right here, okay? All right. For the nostrils, I get to take my finger and stick it up his nose. So I'll take on this side over here, and I literally just, I may have to hold the top part, but I literally just jam my finger. Dang, I can't do it. I'm trying to let y'all see, and jam my finger up in there, and then push it back. And there's a nostril, and then I do the same to this side. Totally changes the whole look of the nose just by doing that right there. And then I usually come down below where I have, let me lower the camera here. Lower the light as well. Usually come down below. Made that and above the lip and below the nose. Man, I really like this one. This has come together really well, and I'm very happy because it's on live stream. All right, let's come back up here. Let's come on the other eye as well, even though that one's not winking. We'll do a couple crow's feet over there, and then we got to come back and fix his eyebrows up here where we messed them up from the nose. I should have smoothed this out a little bit better before I did that. Now I got to do it again. I've made ones with unibrows before. I've done all kinds of things. All right, let's see. Let's raise you guys back up. Ray Bolger, the American actor who played. Oh, okay, yeah. That's funny. Oh, wait a minute. All right, let me go back. You're welcome, David. Hey, Mickle, welcome. That's not funny. Haha. Yep. Yeah, see you, Will. Thank you for coming. All right, let's see. So, so we'll get a whole profile here. We'll turn it slightly so you can see there's the winking eye. I think maybe the eyebrow maybe should have come down a little bit more, but it's still, I think it's good. And this cheek maybe should come out. I think I need to add more to this cheek over here. I think I'll do that. I think it looks a little too skinny there. Definitely think I need some more cheek on this side. This is where I'm borderline getting into trouble, adding clay going down into this hole that's already getting pushed in some from the eye. And I don't want to mess that up where that eye is. Yeah, that looks a whole lot better. That cheek. All right, let's see. Now, let's do this. Let's add a little goatee to the bottom there, right below the mouth. What I normally do for a goatee is I just make a candy corn, and then I flatten that. All right, so I'm just gonna add that right down here. And I really don't have to, even with the eyebrows, I probably didn't have to smooth out the edges because I'm gonna scratch that up so much anyway. Get some of that excess off there. There we go, little goatee. No, no longer Ray Bulger. Sorry. Yeah, little goatee, and probably because I have a mole on the side of my face. I love putting a little mole on the side of some of their faces. And I think I'll probably add it over here because this side already has that really nice cheek that I think if I add it up here on the high side, it'll be really cool. It's not a mole, it's a beauty mark. That's it. It's a beauty mark. Yeah, see? I got one right there. That's a little close there. Oh, I need ears. Goodness gracious, I almost forgot about ears. Look, he's earless. He can't hear a single word we're saying. It's probably good. We're talking about him. Ears. That's probably another one of my favorite parts of face chips. All right. I think we'll just make a couple roundish ears. So I'm just going to make a couple round clay balls to get them similar in size. And then what I like to do with those is flatten them out a little bit, and then I like push in on one side so that you get the outside kind of bigger like that. All right, and then we can add one up here. I'm just going to use my tool to attach it a little bit on the back side. All right. Now we'll go to the other side, and we'll do this one down lower because he's already tilting a little bit, his head is. So we'll do this one down here. Whoa, that clay over there's soft. Woo. Did you see that? It's like Went to push that in and it just sunk right in. Clay must be softer on this side of the jug. This guy's got a soft side to him, guys. Be careful. Don't want to hurt his feelings. Okay, now I'm just being corny. Okay, stop. All right, let me... Here we go. What do you guys think? Long way from that jug that we started with, isn't it? A soul patch. There you go. That's right. Yeah. That's right. It's not a goatee. Sorry. Yeah. Thank you, Daryl. Just a soul patch. I never heard it called that, but yeah, that's yeah, goatee would be around the whole mouth. Yeah. All right, the only thing we need now is I'm trying to decide. I might do a handle on the jug itself. If I did, it'd be up there, but I don't know. I think it might be fine without a handle because that's pretty. I don't want to mess him up. I think maybe the only thing I might do differently if I did it again is I'd maybe do the winking eye down on the lower side and then the top one, but I don't know why I'm thinking of that, but now we got to have a name, okay? So seeing you guys are here live, let's talk about names real quick because whenever I take these off the bat, I always give them a name. I always write that name on the bottom, and it has to do with, just a blinky. Well, that would be both eyes, Daryl. Both eyes. So Winky, Fred. Yeah, John, I have, it is John, right? I think so. Yeah. Anyway, Chester, that's a good one. I actually did put a hole. I had a face jug one time that I put a hole in his ear, and then after it was fired, I took a real earring and I put it in his ear, so he had a metal earring hanging in his ear after he was fired. My wife was okay with that. I made one with a cigar one time. She didn't like that one at all. And I think one of my kids is like, "Why'd you put a smoker in his mouth?" I'm like, yeah. All right, so let's see. Chuck from the Goonies. Yeah. Jack, Chester. I really like Chester. We could do Winky. We got Blinky, but like I said, he's got both eyes. Not both eyes. He's got one eye. I don't know why I like Chester, but I do like that. All right, any more? Any more recommendations for names? And should I put a handle or should I just leave it like this? Because normally I would put like a handle up here. It wouldn't be very big, but just a small handle because it is a jug. No handle, okay. Anybody else? Ears are the handles. That's right. You just grab them by the ears and pick them up. All right, no handle. Definitely consensus on no handle. Yeah, he would have to gum his food. Yes, that is for sure. Actually, when I grew up, well, my first few years of life were in New York State. We lived on a dairy farm, And I remember there being a guy that worked on the dairy farm that didn't have any teeth. And I remember watching him eat a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. It was the funniest thing in the world to see somebody with no teeth eat a sandwich. You know, just a lot of tongue and gum action. uh, all right, so any more comments on names? Because I do like Chester. Do you guys like that name? That just sounds like a fun, kind of a funny name. Nothing wrong with the others either. And uh, Sven, that's a pretty good one. Yeah, if I was gonna put a handle toward the back, that would just kind of. All right, thank you, Daryl. That's yeah. I did actually. I've actually already done a face jug at one point called Sven. That's pretty funny. I'm trying to remember the last one. The ones I did last year. I did two. I did two of them. One was smiling like this, and the other one had a big mustache. It was mustachio and something else. I can't remember the other one. But hey, I'm glad you said that, Berlin. I did it one of my live streams. I was talking about some. I was trying to think of the name of a potter, and it was Berlin Craig that I was trying to think of. All right, well, Chester, I'm glad you guys like that as well. We'll definitely do Chester. So after this dries and it comes off the bat, I'll sign it, of course, and then I'll put Chester, and then it'll go in my wood kiln as well. So I'll put a number 2 for the second fire in for my wood kiln. So yeah, we'll definitely do that. I don't think we need to add anything else. I think he's pretty good. Yeah, if I would have done teeth, it would look cool, but I would have had to done the teeth before I did the lips. But yeah, here there's a profile shot. Chester McDrinky. Oh, there's a little bit of extra clay I want to get around his nose there and get that out. There we go. All right, let's see. Yeah, I think that's about it. So that's about an hour. I don't have anything else to work on. I mean, I have some mugs that I need to put those medallions on, but I don't know that they're ready yet. So we'll just leave it at this for the face jug, and we'll leave it at an hour. So you guys have any more questions or comments before we go? I sure hope anyway, I know there was you're welcome, Eva. No, I didn't do the challenge yet, Mikkel. I'm kind of waiting for more people to enter things. I mean, I've got several, but I do have a video going up tomorrow about my tools and my equipment. So it is pottery related, but we're not making anything on that video. How I will glaze this, it's good in a wood kiln. One of the good things is I could just leave this completely raw and it would just be salt glaze. If not, I usually keep them pretty simple. I might just do a plain ash glaze on it, either dip the whole thing or just spray some on the top. But most likely, I'll probably just leave it raw. Yeah, Mike, we talked about teeth a little while ago. If I was going to do teeth, I would have had to done those before I did the lips. I just kind of decided not to do teeth, so he's just kind of, I guess he's smiling without teeth. Maybe he has no teeth. Yeah, that's a pretty fun nose, isn't it? Or his tongue. Yeah, yeah. If I was going to do a tongue, I would have to wait and do that. Yeah, after the bottom lip, but or I could have, if it stayed in his mouth, it would have been back there. But yeah, it's a little late for those now. Sorry about that. Maybe we'll do another one. Maybe I'll throw a couple more jugs and we'll do another live stream doing faces. And if you guys really enjoyed this one, and then we can, you guys can help with the idea, because you guys came up with the idea for the wink and no handle and Chester. So anyway, well, thank you guys as always for being here, watching, joining in. Definitely makes it fun. I know that I look forward to actually doing some real classes or workshops eventually when things get back to normal. So, but anyway, thank you all for support on the YouTube videos in general. And like I said, as always, if you guys watch those and you're a big fan, you know, you definitely, you know, you guys have heard me talk about Patreon as well. I've got that up now, and thank you guys. There's definitely several of you guys that have already become patrons. I really appreciate you guys. But even if you don't have the extra money to do that, trust me, there's no pressure. But what you can do is, as you watch the video, give it a thumbs up. You know, share it with anybody. If there's any websites that you know can share videos on, or just with friends of yours that are potters or whatever, just share the videos. Any and all that helps in the process of growing the channel, and is greatly appreciated. So you guys are awesome. So anyway, so that'll be it. Let me look at chat one more time. Yeah, the rooster in the window. Yeah, that's actually the first red rooster I've ever made. I got to make some more of those as well. That'd be another good video I could make. Yeah, Susan, sorry, this will be uploaded. You can go watch it, the full thing after it's done. You're welcome, Daryl. I look forward to meeting you when I do my kiln opening, because I know you're fairly close. So, but anyway, all right, you guys have a great night. You guys stay safe, and we'll see you tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. I have a video going up, and then I'll probably do another live stream later this week. So stay tuned. All right, see you guys.